My Eggo waffles. I ain't trying to be aggressive, but people look at me like I'm an old man. I came back from resurrecting. They look at me like I came back from the dead, like it's Resident Evil. But they don't even understand that I'm actually more human than you ever can. This is why I'm what you call the ex-human. I'm just different. I'm artistically different. What's up, my archfiends of chaos? This is your king of the night, Vincent Valentine EX Turk. Come back at you with a brand new video theory, and we're gonna go deep into the whole Final Fantasy X is connected to 7, which it is, which got evidence right there. But something peculiar. It could be possibly if Final Fantasy X is truly connected to 7 the way I think it is, then it could only mean one thing. But what could that mean, Vincent? It could mean that maybe some of the characters have similarities, or should I say, two characters from both of the franchise of their franchises look the same. We're gonna be talking about how Jecht is. Now, I know I'm gonna sound like a crazy hobo, but Jecht could be an original Valentine member. First of all, we don't know Jecht's true last name. He just becomes Braska's final Aeon. The other clues is that both Jecht and Vincent are possessed by evil deities. You know, as Vincent was able to control his evil deity, Chaos, Jecht wasn't able to control Sin, so Sin took over Jecht. Both have crimson eyes, a long black hair, and a nonchalant attitude as well. Not to mention, not to mention that they really care about the people they love. You know how Vincent was distraught after learning Lucretia, had a painful birth with Sephiroth, and how Jecht, had to leave his family because he became Sin, which really hurt Jecht a lot. Considering when you collect the spheres, he wanted to tell his future son he loved him because he didn't really want to hurt him. That's why he technically, the reason why he kept sparing Titus as Sin is because he really loved his son, Titus. Even though he thinks of his son as a whiny little bitch at times, excuse my language, but he still loves his son, Titus. So he's very emotional about his son, just like how Vincent Valentine was very emotional about his once to be been fiance, as well. So they're both caring people, and they both have crimson eyes, long black hair, possessed by evil deities as well. But also the fact is, if 10's connected to 7 by any fraction of that definition, it could mean that how Shinra, the kid Shinra, that's what I'm gonna call him, in Final Fantasy X-2 was trying to gather up not life stream, what's it called, the far plane energy, which could be later on be seen as the life stream later on. But you know what? We don't know where Vincent Valentine's bloodline comes from. We assume Vincent Valentine's bloodline comes from Wutai for the fact that his father was from Wutai. But if 10 leads to 7, then that means it could be possible one of those islands becomes Wutai in the future as well. There are Asian-looking places in 10 as well. So it could be possible that one became Wutai, and that's where, now it could be possible if if Titus came back after Shiren was sent away, you got the good ending. Yuna and Titus had kids. It's not too impossible to say that it could be possible that Titus could have a son with black hair and crimson eyes like his father. It could be in the genealogy. And then probably they settle down on the island, and then, populate and all that stuff, and then years and years and years. Because even though the Final Fantasy universes can be connected, just remember, when 15 was still versus Final Fantasy 15 was still versus 13, it was 5 million years after the Lightning Saga. So, they connect, but they don't connect for like years and years. Now, to say if Final Fantasy 7 is connected, is 10 is connected to 7 for the fact that they have the same kind of themes and stuff like that, and we know that and we know that Seymour tried to pretty much become just like how Sephiroth was in 7. It's not too impossible to think that maybe the Vincent Valentine bloodline came from Jecht. So Titus could have had a kid with black hair and scarlet eyes like his father Jecht, and probably named him Jecht Jr. But we're not going to talk about the names of the of the kids. We're just saying then that kid's got with another woman, kids, going down the line of kids for billions of years of generations, and then Wutai, then it becomes, Gaia, pretty much, So, pretty much Spear becomes Gaia, if it's connected. Remember, this is only a theory, so please do not get mad and put dislikes on this, because this is only a fan theory. But, if it's connected, it could be the fact that it could lead back to Jecht. Because in Final Fantasy X, the only two men with black hair and crimson eyes were Auron and Jecht. Which I'm not going to go and say that Auron and Jecht were brothers, considering Auron was way older than Jecht was. It was a little older than Jecht was, But I could say that the same fashion taste from Jecht could lead to the Valentine family. Now, Grimoire Valentine and Dirge of Cerberus, or Final Fantasy VII, we're going to call it Final Fantasy VII because it's the complete lore. But Grimoire Valentine never donned a headband, but he had long black hair and crimson eyes. But that handkerchief that Grimoire wore, when Vincent got it, he turned it into his signature headband. But you notice the signature headband looks the same. The only difference between Jecht and Vincent Valentine is Jecht is actually more built. And Jecht existed way millions of years before Vincent has. But it's not to say that the Valentine family could not come from Wutai for the fact that they look Japanese. They're just Japanese people with red, crimson eyes and black hair. And like I said, sure, Auron has red eyes, but then again, Auron's a spirit all along, so it makes sense for Auron. Now, Jecht was always human, even when he got turned to sin, he was able to keep his human form. And Jecht in Final Fantasy X is the only human with crimson eyes and long black hair. Pretty much what Jecht really was an uber masculine version of Vincent Valentine, pretty much. That existed way before. Now, millions of years ago, after, and over and over and over a million years. Okay, then Vincent Valentine's family could have probably been like, who knows, Grimoire Valentine's father could have been the one who wore the red headband and crimson eyes and long black hair. But notice there's a huge trend, and if 10 goes into 7, then it could make sense that this is where the Valentine bloodline actually originated from. It could be possible that Jecht is the original founder of the Valentine bloodline. And it could also explain why, even if Vincent didn't have all the monsters inside of him to keep him strong enough, it could also explain how Chaos was successful to Vincent Valentine's body. Maybe a portion of sin transferred to the last bloodline of the Valentine family. Vincent Valentine, the youngest son of the Valentine family. Now, I said it could be an incarnation, but it is possible that 10 could be connected to 7. Remember, Final Fantasy universes are connected together. Even if you don't believe me when I say that 15 is connected to 13, it still is, in my mind, the way I see it. The painting of Etro in Kingsglaive, ties Fabula Crystallis Novia from 13 to 15. So, and people are saying, there's people out there, even Final Fantasy Union has confirmed that Final Fantasy X is connected to 7. And if the same things of 7 were in 10, it's not too impossible that Jecht is the founder of the Valentine clan. Or family. So may the crystal be with you. Remember, this is only a theory, so take this with a grain of salt. And may the crystal be with you.